Hello, my funky junky friends. It's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, and today I'm presenting the spooky Halloween scene for the Funky Junky Boutique. So I hope you will check out their products. They have a great selection of Tim Holtz products. So I started with Mr. Bones. I just got my hands on him and decided to play, and I ended up making 4 skeletons, and I used 2 for a card, and then I used 2 here on this particular scene. So I'm just kind of cutting out all the pieces, and you can see I've got multiples laying here, so we'll get them all put together here. There's the skull, and then I've added some parts to the body, and I'll just continue working on. So there he is with all the bones and pieces on him. And as you can see, I ended up making 4, and you'll notice that the 2 on the left have the left arm facing down and the right arm facing up, not like the original Mr. Bones. And again, that's because I wanted to give a little bit of variety to how he was standing. So loving the new moon masks. I've got a piece of distressed watercolor paper here, and what I'm going to do is to color it with the new mica spray. So this is Flickering Candle, Jack-o'-lantern, a few other distressing colors. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking black soot, and I'll go ahead and just run that over the top to darken in the crevices on the moon. And then I'll use a circle die to cut it out. And that part will be on my scene. So as you can see, I'm just kind of adding the distress ink. And so my second piece of watercolor paper, distress watercolor paper, again, I cut this to fit the next size up of the etc. tags. I'm obviously on a binge here to do these tags. So I'm using black soot and wilted violet distress ink. So we'll throw the water on, and then I always run my fingers through to kind of break up the bubbles and get it so that it mixes well. So again, I'm still working here, just gonna kind of add the layers, heat up, go back and do some more layers. I did some more layers there. And in the end, I ended up adding the wilted violet and empty tomb new distress mica sprays to this, because I wanted it to kind of have that spooky glittery background. So here I'm pulling out the mica sprays. And again, distress is great because again, you can spray it on, and then if you want it to move, all you got to do is add some water, and off it goes. I mean, it's just really kind of amazing how this product works. I use it for a lot of things. I think smooshing is my favorite technique. So then just drying it, and I'll set that aside. And so again, I'm pulling out my skeletons, and I decided they weren't aged enough, maybe is the word. So I'm using antique linen oxide, and again, I'm smooshing. So what I'm doing is adding the antique linen both to the skeletons and most. And then I'm doing dry brushing. I saw this on a Sizzix website recently. Took some green paint, and I'm just kind of dry brushing on the houses. And so here's kind of a layout of all of my parts. Here's my purple background. And I've got tombstones, and I've got a gate. I've got my skeletons, my ghosts, all that stuff. So I'm using and just putting etc. tag. I think it's actually a medium. I'll list that on the blog post. But again, just kind of making sure that it is completely covered. And then here's my watercolor piece that I've already trimmed down. I did trim the corners down as well. I'm not going to cut the hole out. Again, there's no need for it. I'm not going to put a bow over there or anything. So I'm just gonna leave it plain. So I'm just kind of running my fingers along the edges to be sure that it is completely adhered. And then I ended up taking a vintage box, and it's out of the Ideology vintage set, and I ran black soot distress ink over it, and to color it a little bit, and then I attach that to the bottom right hand side of my board. So here I am adding the moon, kind of trying to do things in in order here. So I've got some moss from my stash that I kind of used my hot glue gun and put it on there. Now I've got the tombstone. I happen to have one tombstone left, and so I'm using that and putting the larger skeleton behind him, the one with his arms up. And then I'm going to add this stick to the right hand side. And again, I'm going to hang that little spider off there. You see that spooky spider with the red belly? I'm going to put him on the tree. That'll be fun. So again, just trying to, make sure everything is stable. And so I'm just kind of playing as I go along here. You can see I've got skeletons sitting there. I've got, pumpkins, again, trying to decide. And I think I'm going to put the other skeleton outside of the box. So I'm kind of playing with the houses now. How do I want the houses? Where do I want them? And I ended up tearing a piece of black cardstock to be the hill so that I could pop the houses up a little bit. I know my head just got in the way there, sorry. So again, here I am, add the tombstones. And again, the tombstones are double, have two layers of the cardstock on them to kind of make them a little bit stronger. And then I'm adding these skulls back there in the corner. And the pumpkin goes up front. So I'm just kind of adding the components there. So far, I'm pretty pleased with this. Having fun here. So I'm gonna play with the houses. So there's my black hill. I decided I needed a hill or something to kind of stabilize those houses. And so I'm thinking, sorry, my head's in the way again. I'm thinking that I'm going to put the skeleton over there to the right. There he is. Yep, gonna put him over there. And of course, in the end, you'll see that he's actually clutching a bat in his hands. So again, just kind of working with the outline and the placement of everything. So again, attaching the hill, and then I'll add the house, and you can see I got a spooky ghost coming out on the left-hand side there. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the acrylic block on there to hold it. I often do that, just add a little bit of extra weight. So now I'm adding my skeleton, my second Mr. Bones. And I'm going to hot glue that spider there in the tree. Just kind of fun. Let me see, what are we going to do next? Oh, we need some bats. We need lots of bats. So I'm just kind of going to put the glue dots there and just only attach the bodies of the bats. I'm not attaching the wings at all, so they can have a little bit of motion. And obviously I've added a couple of ghosts there since we talked last. Cute. I know you keep seeing my head, I'm sorry. Just way too much fun. This one was just way too much fun using all these Sizzix and ideology pieces. So next I decided to add the gate there in front of the skeleton so that he was kind of behind the gate. And then the next thing I'm doing is kind of mixing up some grit paste with greening to kind of get that dark green. And of course I had to keep playing with it. I wasn't happy with the original color, so I'm playing with the grit paste and just kind of sticking that on the skeletons and the tree, on the gravestones. And the other thing that I didn't show you specifically when I put it in there, but there are two hands reaching up out of the graveyard. Ooh, spooky. So just kind of adding that grip paste on there. Putting it on the tree now, kind of like moss. I live in a very wooded area and we have mossy tree limbs fall all the time. So anyway, so there is the finished product. I did decide to add a couple of skeleton bones on there. So I'm just kind of showing you all the fun stuff here, and the little spider and the tombstones. So again, here's the final spooky picture. So again, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, presenting for the Funky Junkie Boutique. I am on Instagram, Blogger, Facebook, and YouTube. I would love to have you come check out my postings and follow me and or subscribe.